Hey, this is Politics with Laura, and I have a real good one for you today. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I'm going to talk about a couple of different topics. It appears that two Russian bombers were intercepted, excuse me, by U.S. fighter jets in Alaska. Biden decides to um, do a mass federal pardon for for everyone that had simple marijuana possession. And Kyle Rittenhouse is going to he tweeted that he was thinking about starting a YouTube channel based on the Second Amendment and gun rights. He concerns me. I do pray for him. I do pray for that young man. Oh my goodness, he has a lot going on there. He does. So let's get into it. Um, I got this from Namibia. Biden's what do you call it? Biden's pardon, and I thought that was quite interesting for cannabis possession. And I found what was even more interesting that that it's not like big news in the United States. So I thought it was interesting. So now he did this through an executive order. So I'm thinking, okay, now we all know that executive orders are only as good for the president that it's being done for. And I'm like, okay, now Biden, are you doing this because you know it's the right thing to do? Because he did make a statement that he wanted to right wrongs. The right thing to do? Or are you doing this for political reasons? Because the Democrats are just being slobber knockered in the political arena. I think the Democrats have gone too far on some issues that they just could have just stayed in the middle of the road, but they took a hard line and ran with it and not thinking about that there's an entire country and not everyone is going to go for whatever you're trying to push. Now, if more people are against it, you are not going to win. Just my thought. But here it goes. And this is the Namibian news in Africa, and it states Biden's executive action affects all Americans who have federal convictions of simple possession of marijuana. Biden also called for states to follow suit. Thought that was interesting. The order affects thousands of people, a senior administration official said. What did Biden say? No one should be put in jail for using or possessing marijuana, he said. There are thousands of people who have prior federal convictions for marijuana who may be denied employment, housing, and educational opportunities as a result of it, he added. Many actions may help relieve the collateral consequences arising from the convictions, Biden stressed. Okay. Now, I have a hard time with Biden because I remember when I was young and he was calling, black people super predators. He was calling Latinos. I can't remember what he was calling him, but he most definitely allowed his prejudice and bigotry to spill out. If you don't believe me, go back into the 80s and just type in Joe Biden back in the 1980s, how he felt about just, and for me, I really, really, really want to believe that Biden is a different person, truly a different person. But for me, it's more so that he is doing this for political reasons for Democrats to stay in office. That's just me. I could be wrong. Now, heck, the a broken clock is right twice a day. So, okay. Now here's a very interesting thing. Many lives have been upended because of our failure because our failed approach to marijuana. And the U.S. president said it's time that we right these wrongs. I found that a very interesting statement. He wanted to right the wrongs. Well, you have a lot of wrongs to right. Just you, sir, just you individually. You have a lot of right to wrongs. People have long memories and people do not forget. These young people may not know who you were, but a lot of us older ones remember you and your policies. So keep that in mind. Now, this is what I found rather interesting. Only around 6,500 people are directly affected by convictions under federal marijuana statutes, U.S. officials told reporters. According to the White House, no one is currently in federal prison for simple possession of marijuana. Okay. However, Biden so-called states to implement these same measures. This is going to be a tough one, Biden. President Biden is going to be a very tough sale because, in my opinion, the drug problem is so bad, just terrible. Got to put up a banner. Sorry. So, okay, hey Hassan, could you push this camera down a little bit? It's like I thought I had it fixed and I don't. And I'm in between screens. Okay, up a little bit. No, up. Okay, this. Down, yeah, down just a little bit. A little bit more. Down. No, just a. No, just the top right there. If you can just bring it. No, it's too loud. Over this way. No, just. Okay. I thought I had all that straightened out. Okay, that's better. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay. Yeah, my banner was like cutting half of my face. All right, but as far as Biden is concerned, I really have to. Well, for me, take whatever he does with a grain of salt, because a lot of times, many of these politicians do it just simply for political expediency. So that's just my thought. But hey, I could be wrong. According to the White House, no one is currently in federal prison. Okay. However, Biden also called for states to implement the same measures. He says, I am urging all governors to do the same with regards to the state state offenses. He said, just as no one should be in federal prison solely due to possession of marijuana, no one should be in a local jail or state prison for the same reason either. The pardon does not apply to non-citizens, interesting, who do not have legal statutes or status at the time of their arrest, or those convicted or intended to distribute the drug. Biden also has directed health and justice officials to review how marijuana is scheduled under the federal law. Currently, federal law statutes are classified, excuse me, currently federal law classifies marijuana in a group that includes drugs such as heroin, LSD, wow, and is in one category higher than ones that cover highly addictive narcotics such as fentanyl and methamphetamines. I can never get that word right. So there's a lot there, and I find that quite interesting because they have marijuana and they have it classified under those strong drugs. Very interesting. Very interesting. But it goes back to that. Is it what he really, I don't want to say if he really means it or not. No, I guess I do. And I'm trying not to be judgmental. It's kind of hard when I think about President Biden. Now, here's another article that really, I'm thinking, whoa. This came from Yahoo News. Airforce jets intercepts 2 Russian bombers flying close to Alaska airspace or U.S. airspace. Now, this is quite interesting. Very interesting because they're right there. They're right next to each other. So if they're just simply doing simple maneuvers or whatever they do, whatever military people do in the Air Force flying around, who knows? But it was serious enough for the Alaskan Air Force to put 2 jets up there to intercede these 2 bombers, and possibly, I'm not sure, they called them Russian bombers, so I wonder if they had bombs on them already. I don't know, just a thought. Just a thought. So the Air Force dispatched 2 F-16 fighters to intercept a pair of Russian bombers that flew close to Alaska on Monday. The North American Space Defense or Command or NACT said in a statement. Although the Russians' 2 Tu-95 Bear H bombers had not entered American or Canadian sovereign space, the NORAD said it detected, tracked positively identified and intercepted the aircrafts as they were entering and operating within the Alaskan airspace identified zone. The defense identification zone in the area of the airspace that required all aircrafts to be identified and located and to have their flight plans controlled in the interest of national security, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. NORAD, or NORAD, a combined air defense organization of the United States and Canada, said the Russian activity was not seen as a threat nor as the activity seen as provocative. The appearance of the Russian bombers and said their interception by the U.S. fighter jets do come at a fraught time in the relationship between the two countries. However, the situation has grown more and more tense since the Russian invade Ukraine, which the U.S. has supported with humanitarian and military aid while slamming Moscow with economic sanctions. Yeah, this is just really something. It's really something, and it's really, oh man, so contentious that I just wish, just for me, this would just simply go away. But however, whatever I want as an individual is not going to affect the entire world. Um, it has created intriguing moments for the close border between Russia and the U.S. Russian escaping the partial draft has arrived on the shores of Alaska, or at least one boat or a Russian official have made veiled threats towards the state. Speaking in July about the new rounds of U.S.-led sanctions against Russia, by Vyacheslav Volodin, the chairman of the State Duma, said that the U.S. should remember that Alaska was once part of Russia, okay, and that it could be forced to give back territory, according to the Telegram channel of the RBC Group, the media company headquartered in Moscow. Well, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, if you sell land and you sell it and you got money, and the people that bought it is occupying the land, how are you going to take something back that you gave away? I mean, well, sold. I don't know, but I guess in these times things are so contentious that it really doesn't matter. Just, I don't know. To me, it's like quién es más macho? Who's more macho? Now, the third thing that I would like to talk about is what I find rather interesting, Kyle Rittenhouse. Oh man, this young man really concerns me. He really does. I tweeted some time back that I thought that he should just stay out of social media for a little bit, because his trial was so contentious and it really divided the country. No, literally it did. It literally divided the country into two, the conservatives and the liberals, and it just seems like he has to go to the store, and he has to have security to go to the store with him to protect him. And then the fact that he wants to start a YouTube channel about guns and the Second Amendment is just adding salt to the wound. And things really haven't had a chance to really settle down. And I think by him not constantly, but by him coming out saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that," and you know, the people that feel that he got away with what he did still feel there are a lot of feelings behind it. And those who support him are like, whatever he did was legal and this and that and the other. And I think that, and I'm like, I'm not taking sides. I'm just really concerned about his well-being, because When he said that he was going to go to Texas A&M on a Friday, Monday morning the people made a statement. He is not enrolled. So he's really in no man's land because he's going to be around other people. They're like, I don't want this person that got away with this crime in my school possibly sitting next to me. And I feel bad for him. I really do. So I think if he were to just simply take a back seat for a little bit, to let the dust settle, to let people forget about this occurrence, because it does happen. People go out of the limelight, lay back, and then reemerge a couple of years later to where people can say, okay, I gotten over it. But if he keeps on just putting it out there, I'm excited that he's accepted in school. I think that's a great thing. But and I know he wants to announce it and tell everyone, but not everyone is ready for him to have any success at all. And when he put that out there on Twitter, someone put up faces of the people, the two young men that are no longer on this earth. Now, I'm not going to re-debate on whether if he was innocent or guilty. I'm not doing that. The only thing what I'm just saying is just the facts and how people are feeling about it. And some people feel that he got away with what he got away with, and they just don't want to be around him. And that's sad. I feel bad for him. Not to mention to add additional salt. You can't make this stuff up. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse, his name will be cemented with hate groups like the Proud Boys. It has gotten so much so to where in Argentina, a group set up a cultural center, and where they have him there in a suit. Then they have other communist China and some other groups. Azov, they have Azov there from the Ukraine. Ukraine is a neo-Nazi organization. So they, what the article read was they were so moved and impressed by his behavior that they're like, hey, we have the Kyle Rittenhouse Cultural Center, and in the Cultural Center, it's all about violence. Just take a look at it. Don't believe me, take a look at it. I did a video on it because the police raided the Cultural Center because one of the guys decided, loosely affiliated with the organization, and the person that is a part of the organization decided to tweet that they were happy that the guy almost got rid of the vice president of Argentina. This is wild. It's really wild. And Kyle Rittenhouse, I really don't know. So if he does open up that YouTube channel, it's gonna be really contentious, and it's sad for me to say that. It really is. But that was all that I really wanted to express and talk about. So if you have any comments, please put your comments down there. If you think I'm just saying, hey, Laura, you're being too overly sensitive, okay, put it down there. We could talk about it. If you think that that I'm onto something, please put it down there. We could talk about it. Remember, Joe Biden and him on a federal pardon of all people that have simple marijuana possession. He's getting them. They're all pardoned. The two Russian bombers that came close to Alaska and Canadian airspace, and Kyle Rittenhouse. Tell me, what are your thoughts? And most of all, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're spending time with me, and I do appreciate that. And I just want to thank you for stopping by.